And just like that, the midday show rises. Hi, everybody. I'm overexcited. I don't mind telling you. I am overexcited. Um, this is the midday show, and you won't notice anything except it's probably even better than it was. Even better. You know him. You love him. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the king of comedy within a radius of, I'm going to extend it now that we're a new show, within 5 miles of the Tolworth Tower. That's how big this man's comedy reach is, not to mention his mental health and wonderfulness. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him, the Longy Man, Neil Long.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm very, very good. Yeah, thanks, Graham. Absolutely damn right. Unless you want to buy us a studio, which I don't want. But thank you. Same curtains and same Narnia wardrobe. You're obsessed with that.
Who, me?
No, Graham Pack is obsessed with the wardrobe. God knows why. Anyway,
Oh, right.
it's a new look. It's exactly the same look. That's the beauty of it. It's exactly the same. Good afternoon, Russ, Neil, and all Facebook user, which means that you are watching on the espresso bar. So there's a little setting you can do so we know who it is when you're watching on the espresso bar. Or you can watch on our brand new YouTube channel, just like you used to. And it's called The Midday Show.
The Midday Show.
Who would have known? Who would have known? So I sent you an email with the link. We can try and put the link up if you want. That would be cool. But I haven't got I can't do it if I've got to keep talking.
Do you want me to stick that up?
Wah, 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 wah. Yes, please. Julie Voice. Hi, y'all. It's 1 year since I left Texas, 18 months since my husband died. And today's my 5-year anniversary. Triple whammy. No, 5-year anniversary of what? Of your marriage? No, explain. I get that you left Texas a year ago, Houston, Texas for Guilford, Surrey. Okay, we can talk about that. 18 months since my husband died. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Today's my 5-year anniversary, so it's a triple whammy. We're here for you. We are here for you, Julie Voice. So you hang
All the
in
best,
there.
Julie. All the best, Julie.
Absolutely.
I can't find that email at the moment. I'm sorry. If you want to...
Oh, it's your 5th wedding anniversary. Oh, my God. Yeah. So I got my son lives in Texas, as I think I've made it out, and we speak every now and then when he's can fit me into your schedule. He's a busy guy. He's always exhausted because they work him very, very hard. Anyway, let's. No, it's not the 5th year anniversary of her taking her mother to the bowls club. How is your mum, by the way? Let me explain what's going on. And I'm going to explain it for Neil as well. First of all, thank you. Last week was a massive week. As a celebrant, I had 2 funerals at which to officiate. And I had a magnificent email from someone I don't really know who is retiring as a celebrant with some excellent advice. Because I understand this, and I know you will, Neil.
Go on.
If you let all of that grief and you absorb it, it's going to affect you. Now, I'm doing a special job, which I'm very blessed to do. I trained hard, I worked hard, and I take it very, very seriously, as Neil and everybody knows. And I've had lovely reviews. Thank you very, very much from my clients. Appreciate it. But the thing is, when I leave the chapel and get in my car, I have to leave that behind because it's not my grief, not my family. I don't often know these people, so it's important that I leave it there and let it reside there. And what this guy was saying, who's done something like 700 funerals outside of London, down on the coast for many years, it got to him. It got to him. So I will keep a watching brief, and I will, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this because but it's very interesting. You mustn't absorb all of that stuff. Robert Van Buren. I love this. I wonder. Mum is out. Her mum's 96.
I heard something quite interesting once. It was a school of thought that said 98% of everything that we think and feel wasn't originally ours. We bought into it.
Ooh.
98%. You were saying about not absorbing grief, and
Yeah.
because we can all be affected. I mean, I went to a funeral the other day and started feeling sad, and it brought up old memories of my mum and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
So
You're going to get
it's
triggered.
hard not to, but
Of
equally to absorb that energy, if you like, and take it on as your own. Because you're right, with all the compassion in the world, it's not yours.
No, it isn't mine. I'm there to do. I mean, it would be useless if I got up and started to sob and cry. That's not my role. My role is to host. I use the word advisedly, the entire event. And I don't know if you've seen a celebrant at work, but it's once the well, that's cool. But once the funeral director and I have bowed to the coffin, which is up there, the funeral director then leaves, and the entire funeral is under my control and my direction. It's an enormous responsibility. Music, everything. There's no one to turn. There's no one to turn to. Well, the chapel assistants, obviously, but there's no one else to blame. It's like doing a one-man stand-up. It is just you. It's a huge responsibility, but it's
is that daunting?
Well, it's like everything else, Neil. When you were doing your show at Capitol or whatever, was it daunting? Did you enjoy it? Yes. Was it daunting if you thought it could go wrong? Of course.
Yes, it was.
But you took it seriously. In other words, you could be messing around.
Enough.
Yeah, you could be messing around.
It was a fun job to be taken seriously, if you like. Yeah, good question. I don't know really. I mean, I thought the consequences might be worse if something went wrong at
it would be dreadful. It would be absolutely horrendous and deeply embarrassing. And I can't turn around and say it was my co-star, or it was the director, it's the producer, or it's the set, or it's the stage, or it's just you. Graham Pack says this, and I'd love you. And then I'll come back to your point, Longy. Graham says, "Would you like to read it out, Neil?"
Excuse me.
Oh my God!
I'd like to.
Show brought to you by Friars Balsam.
Excuse me. With some of the people that have died recently, such as Steve Wright, I can't believe he's died. I can't believe I'm saying out loud Steve Wright has died.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Wright. Legend.
I think I'm not far off that age, and I start to wonder how much longer I've got left. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Although most of the time we're not comparing like with like, are we? We think we are, but we're not.
Oh my gosh! Look at this.
I've been asked to sing a solo at my late friend's funeral on the 5th of March, which clashes with my holiday plans. Tui have said it's going to cost me $500 to alter the booking by one day. Oh my!
This is nuts. It's such a cheat. What do? You press a couple of keys on a keyboard, boom, your booking is changed. How is that £500? If I was paid 500 quid every time I did a few keystrokes, I'd be living in the Bahamas. Can you imagine? What do you do, Facebook? Who are you, by the way, Facebook user? I'm suggesting that you're looking at, it's Lee. Hi, Lee. Hi, Lee Durnford, who's a lovely, lovely, lovely fellow. Lee, I'd probably say no. I say, I'm terribly sorry. I've already booked, and it's going to cost me £500. I think you have to be honest about these things. Well, it's good to see that romance is alive, Neil.
Last week, my wife had a cold, so for Valentine's Day, I gave her 2 packs of handy-sized tissue for her handbag. You're a beautiful man, Grant. You're talking about how long you've got left. You keep on doing stuff like that. I would say
about half an hour.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to make it to lunchtime, fella, if you keep doing that shit. That's not going to happen at all. Oh, you guys, I love it. And they said romance. I tell you what, Graham, you are spoiling Mrs. Pack. You're spoiling her. Fiddler on the Roof was on TV yesterday afternoon. I was wondering.
If I were a rich man.
Yeah, and Roger Lloyd Pack, who played Trigger, was in not Fiddler on the Roof. I'm going mad. Jesus Christ Superstar. No, it was Fiddler on the Roof. Roger Lloyd Pack was in Fiddler on the Roof. Go figure. As was Ruth Maddock.
Ruth Maddock?
Ruth Maddock was in Fiddler on the Roof. Or by the Olympic-sized swimming pool. Ruth Maddock in Fiddler on the Roof. And Trigger. And Trigger. And I say, right, let me explain what's going on, because I'm getting besieged by all sorts of private messages. And I will put this in as neutral a term as I can so everybody understands. 6 years ago, women's radio station was started. And then, because the chap who started it had been a friend of mine for like 30 years, I said, look, let me have a look at what's going on, because I could see he was, to be honest, struggling a little bit. And I came in and gave advice and helped out. Pro bono, just did it because I could see he had no radio experience, and I think he was being taken advantage of by staff members at the time and by presenters at the time. A 1 hour show taking 6 hours to edit. No, a 1 hour show takes about 7 minutes to edit. So, yes, Melanie Hutchins, she's found us. Anyway, and then 5+ years ago, January, 5 years ago, this will be year 6, we co-founded Men's Radio Station. And we pay for it all ourselves. And the idea was a place non-judgmental for men to speak about their problems, and women think it's good. And we put in tens of thousands of hours and thousands of pounds to make it work, because we had staff, we had studios, back then there was equipment, all the rest of it. And then bit by bit by bit, we got people coming on board who were sponsoring their own shows. And that was fine. So all we ever wanted it really to do was it to what I call wash its face, as long as it didn't cost us anything to run, because we never, ever took a single penny out of it. Ever. Nothing. Never, not 1 penny for 6 years. We never have. And then I got to the stage where, I was getting emails. This is very difficult. We've got to pay the staff. We've got to pay these expenses, et cetera, accountancy fees, because it's not registered. And I said, look, we've given it, all this time. I'm not prepared to put any more money in, as everybody else was chipping in. And I'd been chipping in thousands to make it work. And the reason it simply wasn't working is because all the corporates who talk the big talk about mental health and mental first aid, they didn't want to know. And you go to all these conferences and they tell you you're going to do this, that, and the other. They wouldn't give us a single dime. Not a penny. And we worked with all the big charities and they were exactly the same. Oh, yes, a marvelous idea. Well, would you like to hook up? Can we work together? No. So I came to the conclusion it was bullshit, and they were never going to give us any money. And it all, it was all public facing. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You do nothing. And so I thought, well, we could run this a very different way. And I'll put it in neutral terms that my two co-directors and myself disagreed on the way forward. I'm being very polite about it because they used to be friends. So I thought, right, that's enough. I'm not prepared to watch tens of thousands of pounds just go down the toilet. I believe in the thing. I love our audience with, Neil, myself, Phil, Chantal, Jonathan Baz. We've all worked bloody hard. We've all worked hard to build this up. And I'm not having it.
Well, I'm relatively new to the mix, to be fair.
No. Don't put no. I don't want any of your nonsensical. Oh, I'm just this and that. No, I won't have it. Won't have it. And you're a key to this, and I wanted you to be. And so I thought, no. All right, I'm going to go on my own. Run it the way that I wanted to, on a way more sensible financial footing. Cut out all the costs that we didn't need. I've been paying for StreamYard anyway, which is what this goes out at. And so there you go. That is why I've rebranded it. I've separated completely from men's radio and women's radio. This is our own venture. It's exactly the same thing, same audience. You find it on the same places. I've added a YouTube channel, which is just simply called The Midday Show. I'll keep putting the links up on social media so you can find us and watch us exactly the same as you do. I can see from the numbers, we've got bigger numbers than before. So that's bloody marvelous. And that's it. That's the story. Now, Neil and I were discussing before the show. Yeah, we do talk. He said, do you want to keep going with the same mental health attitude? And I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not going to have it top of the list. I'm not going to have mental health and well-being at the top of the list. I want to include it. Neil is an expert in NLP. He's going to start saying, no, I'm not. Not yet. You are. So Wednesday's show will be much more about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Please tell me I've got that right.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And Neil can deal with that. And I think the fact of the matter is that, I didn't want to walk away from our audience. I love this. Because I think it gives you a place where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you can say what the hell you want. You're not going to be cancelled and all this crap. It's important stuff. And we can talk about whatever you want. Yes, we will be talking about mental health issues. Yes, we'll be talking about wellness issues. Yes, we'll have those sort of guests on exactly as we did before. But this is far more manageable. I don't have staff. There is me and my pals like Neil and Phil Dave and Chantal Rickards and Jonathan Baz and everybody else. And all the PR people who watch this, exactly the same. Your guests and your clients are as welcome as they always were. That's the situation. So it's brand new, but it looks exactly the same. And that's comforting. Let's go through some of these fabulous messages. Neil, your turn.
Melanie Hutchins says, "Ooh, I found you." Hello, Melanie.
This will be go on. Sorry.
This is talking about
Lee Durnford. This is Lee Durnford.
Yeah. Talking about a no isn't that easy. To sing at someone's funeral when he had to move the holiday dates, going to cost you a load of money. I've known Keith for 37 years. He was the director of the show the song comes from that I was in. Incidentally, I'm in Greece this week in Dorking. Congratulations.
You know what, Lee? You're the one that I want. But I'm not hopelessly devoted to you. Although I like you. Not in that way. Oh, bless. And we love you too, Russ. Well, whoever that is, bless you for that. Hello to Sen Monroe. What else we got going? Grand Pack. It was a conscious uncoupling. It was a bit more than that. Well, you've obviously found us, mate. So don't worry about it. What else we got? What have we got? Russ Radio. Bless you. Well, I don't want to call it Russ Radio. I thought about it. No, it's just called the Midday Show because Neil handles it on a Wednesday, and who knows what else we get. Right. Melanie Hutchins says this. Neil Long of Tolworth
Corporate
Tower
charity, mental health is business. No difference to a Greg's pasty. Although it would seem to have more substance, a pasty.
Hey!
If you're describing it well, Russ. You are the real deal and have been a genuine lifeline to a lot of your listeners.
Well, that's why I do it. And a lot of friends were saying, well, look, for God's sake, you're giving it 5+ years. Stop. I'm not making any money out of it. I do it because I want to help. Because I want to help. Neil does it because he wants to help. He's got a million other things to do. I feel passionately about it. And I didn't want finance to be dragging me back into the mire when it was this. We could do this for a very, very sensible, doable budget, as opposed to hundreds and hundreds of pounds a week. For what? So the answer is whether men's radio station and women's radio station is going to continue. I'm out. So it's up to the people who run it. They can do whatever they like, as long as they keep me 100% fully informed, because of course I am still on the books. So nice to see you all. Nice to see you too. Coming back to this, let's look at this for a minute. Corporate health, this charity business. Charities are a business. Don't be fooled by the BS that surrounds it. It is a business. The chief executive officers, the CEOs, earn conservatively 100,000 a year, upwards to 120, 130,000 a year. It's a fortune. It's an absolute fortune. Of course, it's a business. It's a business because they employ staff. They employ fundraisers. They have offices. They have overheads. It's a business. And the one thing these major charities, and don't forget, I used to see the books, the accounts, because I was Chief Barker, which was CEO of, for no pay, by the way, of Variety, the children's charity, which was Variety Club. They have millions on deposit. Millions. Not thousands, millions. So when I see the TV adverts, which cost a fortune, asking, give us, I'm thinking, wait a minute. You're asking for more money from the public, and you've got millions on deposit, which you're making a very nice interest rate on. This is a business. 100%, absolutely. So there you go. This is not designed particularly as a business. This is designed as a cooperative. I don't know, Neil, what's the word? It's like we're all in it together. A forum.
Democracy.
Democracy. I'm a libertarian. I have been a libertarian and increasingly am so. I don't like central government. I think that local politics for local areas is important because only local people understand what's going on. They understand the high street, what they need. And so I think we keep this small, we keep it local. If it grows, it grows. That's fantastic. If it doesn't, I'm happy. I'm happy either way. Now, we had a little chat earlier in the show, and I'm going to put Longy in the spotlight. And I'll tell you why. I was saying the way that we're going to go forwards, and I said, you with your expertise on NLP and all those matters, your Wednesday show, do with it as you wish to continue your excellent teaching and training. And Neil, in typical Neil style, says, I've got imposter syndrome. And I go, what? People love listening to the show. People are learning from you. You're giving practical help. What part of that makes you feel an imposter, Neil Law?
I go, oh God, here we go. Life laid bare again. I go through phases of being really down on myself and thinking I'm not good enough.
I'm going to jump in. For who? Who are you not good enough? Thank you, Sen. Those are good points. Who are you not good enough for?
Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. For people that disagree with me, for most of the world, for people that agree with me.
Neil, I've got to ask a very leading question because I'm turning the tables as opposed to you leading your NLP sessions. And I don't do NLP. I know sod all about it. Has anybody turned around? I'm not talking about our old boss. Forget that. I mean, it's just madness. Has anyone
NLP,
turned around and
go, panicking.
Yeah, has anyone turned around and go, yes, then he has. He takes his Christmas tree down in August. I'm not joking. He likes it. He likes his Christmas tree at the house.
I'm slightly eccentric, Sen, and also slightly lazy.
It's not against the law, is it?
Let me know if you want me to do a comedy set for you, Sen. If you do another one of your charity nights, by the way, let me know, buddy. All
right. Here's the thing. No one has anybody, in all seriousness, turn around and you're in the middle of doing NLP. You don't know what you're talking about. You're no good. You're a fraud. I would bet the house no one said that to you ever.
There's a few people that just like to be snipey, but that's people that kind of like the attention and dislike it if they think for 1 second that I might know something more than they do. They're not about sharing information. They're kind of in that competitive, snipey mindset. But no, the majority of people.
Can I shock you? Can I shock you with something that happened over the weekend? As you know, I'm a celebrant. I was trained by a really brilliant group of people. And I owe where I am now to their training. But we'll talk about that another time. And we have a Facebook group, which is quite large, just for the people that have been. And somebody went to one of their training, which is a residential week-long, very hard, very intensive, very tough course. Graduate. I've never met this fellow. They're at a different time from me. And he's come along, having thanked them and nice photos of them shaking hands and nice comments, slagging them off publicly and saying, they're old fashioned, you need to be with me. And I'm thinking, dear God, you're supposed to be empathetic as a celebrant. How could you do this? And I realize it comes to being a narcissist, comes down to pure ego. Horrible. And they're really upset. My trainers are really, really upset. They're hurt. So it's in every walk of life, Neil. And it blew me away that this had happened over the weekend.
Well, I never say to people, and if I was practicing NLP properly, I would never say to people, I know more than you.
No, you don't.
Because the whole premise of NLP is you help people find their own answers, their own resources. Therefore, we all kind of know as much as we all know whatever we need to know. The practitioner would help people to try and have a bigger map of the world, if you like. More choice is better than less choice. I don't know what point I'm trying to make there. But yeah, there's just times I go through these just feeling down. It's been kind of a background hum for years, and I'm doing a lot of work at the moment to try and clear it with various kind of personal development, and it's had mixed results, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's a fight. It's a constant struggle. And I think once you accept that this is your default, I know what my default position is. Once you accept what your default position is, you start to learn to cope.
But I also understand,
and you stop fighting it.
That people can change. And
sure.
Yes, the first step to changing it is to accept it and not fighting it, because fighting makes it worse. What you resist persists and all that. But so the first step, it's called in psychology the acceptance paradox, that if you want to change something, first you have to accept it as it is. That's quite a common phrase.
Is that because you're recognizing it? So you're in some particular...
Any time we resist things and push against things, okay, we kind of make things more difficult for ourselves than we need to be. Now, we're brought up on resistance. Someone says something, you react, you resist it. The boss says something, you resist it. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you resist it. It's not necessarily easy to give up resistance, but it does go against the natural flow of things, it would seem. And it seems because of what we put our attention on tends to get bigger.
Yeah.
If we're fighting and resisting something, that will get very, very big in our focus and in our thoughts, rather than the positive aspects getting big. It's all about focus of attention, isn't it? And that's why we get so locked into a problem. We can't see the wood for the trees. And someone who's got a more objective view can help us see things that we not be able to see, because we're kind of stuck in the energy of the problem.
And also, there's no rationality behind it. Something happened to me last week, which I will share, because I'm transparent about these things. I went to my daughter's book launch. I could not be more proud. It was at Waterstones. It was beautifully attended, mainly by family. Who is that?
I don't know. You think people
would
know that?
Who was making that disgraceful, unprofessional
I don't know. You can't get the start.
And it was all the people I love and who love me. I mean, genuine, all my family and beautiful friends, very close, people closest to me.
Yeah.
And I suddenly felt horrendously lonely. I mean, bizarre. Why? And I had to wander off and start looking at the books on the shelves to kind of refocus myself. It was the most peculiar feeling. I was thrilled to see everybody there. It was reciprocated. It couldn't have been better. It was a wonderful experience watching my daughter flourish, with her new book. Have you tried this? Which is like in Waterstones, for God's sake. Waterstones. It's the biggest accolade you can get. And I found out that her agent is the same agent as J.K. Rowling. I was like freaked.
Wow.
It doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better than that. Done it all herself. And I thought, why do I feel lonely suddenly? Why? It was just a weird feeling, and I just, and I stayed, and then I left. There was no rationale for it. But I had to recognize. I see what you're saying is I recognized it. I thought, well, you're just having one of your things. Get over it, and it's okay. It's okay.
Well, yeah, it's yes. In that context, it would be something has triggered those feelings.
But what?
To come up.
What?
And the reason why it gets confusing, Melanie, I'll read that out in a minute. Bless your heart. Thank you. The reason why it gets confusing is because we got a conscious and an unconscious mind. And that's why the unconscious mind is purposeful, and it's trying to, generally, it comes from trying to protect you. Okay, it's decided at some point in the past that a situation is dangerous, avoid it at all costs. All right. So if anything that even vaguely looks or walks or talks or smells like it, it'll flag. Okay. But conscious mind can go, because it could be from years ago. Conscious mind can go, what? This makes no sense. I'm surrounded by people I love. What does this make any sense at all? Do you see what I mean? So
Graham, I want to knock something on the head, because I don't know if it says more about you than it does about me. But Graham has said maybe because all the attention was on her that night. I think that's horrible. I think that's dreadful. I couldn't be more proud of my daughter. I was thrilled for her. It wasn't about me.
No,
it was all about her. It was all
Graham,
about her
really
and her business her
Sorry.
business partner, and that I find pretty insulting, really, because that would mean that I would be jealous. If you're jealous of your children, you are one sick puppy. You shouldn't have had children. I don't mean you. I mean generally. I've never understood that. I want my kids to fly, and they are. They're flying. And I couldn't be more thrilled.
No,
I've had my day in the sun. I've had my day in the sun. You know,
as if you
it's
ever
been fabulous.
But the feeling will come up. It's certainly not because the attention was on you. I 100% disagree with that, Graham. I'm sorry, 100%.
No.
However, it would have triggered a feeling, which is something to do with something that happened in your past somewhere, that it would seem in this context to be out of context. But the good thing is, if you like, it's been triggered, it can come up and therefore processed.
It is. I think
and
maybe one of the things is her school friends were there. Now, I've known her school friends since they were 9 years old, and they've all gone on to do crazy, wonderful, they're fantastic script writers, or they're literally running 2 hospitals and writing books. The last book got into a 9-way bidding war. I mean, that's how much they wanted this book from one. And I'm seeing her friends, and they're all together, and we're yakking away because we've known each other forever, obviously. And I just wondered, maybe it was like, gosh, time really is passing. Time is passing. Look at them. Look at what they've achieved. And, you know, you've known them since little babies of 9, and now they're in the mid-40s. Wow. Time is rushing by. No, I still don't get it, Graham. I'm not annoyed in the least. I literally don't. I wasn't saying you're jealous. Good. It's just that everyone was happy with this. Well, yes, everyone was. Me at the top of the list, happy of her success. I couldn't be more thrilled. I want it to be huge. I believe it's going to be serialized with a little bit of luck. I don't know. Who knows why? You know, God knows. Neil.
Perhaps like me, Russ, says Melanie. Our children grow and we're in complete awe of them. I think my children are toddlers still. And sometimes I stand back and feel a bit redundant. Now that's interesting.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's more kind of empty nest syndrome, isn't it? Not, you see, but the thing is though, you're not redundant. It's the level. If you have a good relationship with your children, which I'm sure you do, it's the level of dependency, of course, changes. Touch wood, I've got a wonderful relationship with my daughter.
You have. I've seen it at work. You're very close.
She doesn't need me to hold her hand when she crosses the road because she's not a baby, and that would be inappropriate for her age. But there is always age-appropriate ways we can relate to our kids, and they'll always be our babies. Come on, I still call her my beautiful baby, which makes her cringe.
Of course,
likes it,
of course. To us, all of you with kids out there, in our heads, they're still
She's
4 years old.
She's a
And
brilliant young adult, young professional. She's not a baby
sure.
at all. Far from it.
No, I know. But in our heads, in our head, they're still 4 years old, and we're getting out the tin of Germaline and putting it onto the knee where they've grazed their knee, where they've been learning to ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
The fact that they're running the world and doing far better than we could have ever dreamt of if we were doing even ourselves. It's fantastic, but they'll always be our babies. That's what being a parent's about. You're always super protective. Of course, just super protective of your kids. I watch them like hawks. It's ridiculous, and they're all huge and grown up. And my eldest, my big son lives in Texas and is taking over the world over there, etc. It's fantastic. But in my head, this little guy who used to play, cowboys in the woods.
And maybe on some nights he still does.
Well, he probably is he's a very complicated guy. I feel bad because I haven't seen him in 2 years because he's in Texas and I haven't been able to get over there. And I keep thinking I will, but life gets in the way, doesn't it? All right, question for you, Mr. Neil Long. I'm changing the subject, but you're very well qualified to talk about this. Did you read what happened in the Soho Theatre last week?
You were talking about it, weren't you?
Yeah. I wondered, did you have time to reflect on it? Did you think about
where
it?
the comedian got the flag out?
Yeah.
No, you were talking about it quite robustly last week on the show.
Do you think he should be? If you missed what happened, in a very brief nutshell, was this a comedian? I can't remember his bloody name. Actually, I'd never heard of him. And he gets to the end of his show. It's at the Soho Theatre, which is a well-known venue in Soho in London. If you're watching this in America, or Spain or France or everywhere. And he gets towards about 10 minutes before the end of his act, and he gets out 2 flags, and one's Ukrainian, one's Palestinian. Okay. And then he turns to a member of the audience who's sitting there minding their own business and says, "Did you enjoy the show?" Quite aggressively. And the guy says, "Yes, I did," until he got out the Palestinian flag. That's what he said. And the guy then starts yelling at him to get the F out of my show. Get the F out. Right? And the audience then starts baying. And there were people in the audience in their 60s who felt very frightened, very, very vulnerable, and got out. This is Germany, 1936.
So just to be clear, the audience were baying in a group at Jewish people to get out,
yes,
right?
Exactly right. Nazis, as far as I'm concerned, just Nazis. And how can this now? He's been banned, taken off the Brisbane comedy. There's various events coming up in Australia, which he's been thrown out of. How can this guy still be working? How can this guy still be working? There's a comedian called Andrew Lawrence who did 2 tweets. I used to really like his videos on Twitter, and he did 2 tweets about the people who took the penalties in whatever World Cup or European Cup or whatever. I don't follow football, whatever it was. His career was destroyed in 24 hours. Destroyed. He was thrown out by his agents. He had a huge tour booked. I think you might remember this, Longy. And all the venues.
Wasn't it a racist tweet or interpreted as racist?
Yeah, it wasn't the most smart thing to do. And he also doubled down on it. He didn't throw anybody out. So why is it his career was destroyed? And this guy, Soho Theatre put out a really mealy-mouthed, soft, we're looking into it. Well, you're not looking into it hard enough. How can this be? This is Berlin, 1936. That's what this is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the word. I find that unbelievable. Just that would be akin to. I'm sorry, it's only when I can think of a group of white people baying for a black person to leave.
Of course, this is absolutely right. Can you
it's
imagine
hatred at that level? And I don't. And to be honest, I don't know. I never have understood that level of hatred. Not really. Not I mean, why?
There's no place for it in art. There's no place for it, certainly in comedy. They've gone to have a laugh. And they're thrown out
Terrible. Yeah,
of a theatre because they're Jewish.
Mm.
Where does this stop? Where does this stop? Where? Where did we draw the line on this?
What would you like to see happen?
I'd like the guy's career. I want to see him not even packing shelves in Tesco, and there's nothing wrong with that job.
Now I'm going to ask an awkward question, and I know you feel strongly about this.
I do.
And I respect that you feel strongly. I'm on your side, but do people deserve to have everything wiped out just for like one mistake? Because we do live in that kind of society as well. If this exists as well, where you make the slightest mistake, the media pounce on you, and you're cancelled, and it's trolled by media.
No,
and I don't.
I do not believe. All right, all right. I need to think about this carefully because it's complex, and I hate to use the word nuance, but it is more nuanced.
It is.
What he did is completely unacceptable.
Agreed.
Sorry, on any level.
Agreed.
Do I believe people should be cancelled? I mean, they trawl back through tweets from 10, 15 years ago. Oh, Neil Long in 1998 said, blah, blah, cancel. For God's sake, stop it. This is bullshit. It's ridiculous. Stop it. Do I think there should be consequences for what he did? Yes. Do I think he should be completely obliterated from history? No, I don't. Because if he does, then everybody who made any comment, this whole cancel culture mania, and the pendulum will swing. The pendulum will swing. But this is what really I think will happen. And this is just one scenario. The next election, wherever our election is, this year, I think of this. This is just an opinion. I don't really do politics. The Conservatives are going to lose their shirts on this. And Labour are going to get in under Starmer.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, I just think that's how it's going to play out. Starmer is weak. Can't even define what a woman is. I think with about 3.5 minutes, by the time you've made a cheese sandwich, they'll get rid of Starmer because he's just the useful bloke to have at the head to get them voted in. And I think about 2 minutes after they got rid of him, they'll bring in a nightmare, which was, I think, was the plan anyway. And when they're emboldened, because they're the legitimate government of the country, what then? What then? What's to stop them saying, well, I don't know, I'll make this up, all right? All Jews, get out of the Britain. Or all Hindus, we don't like you anymore, get out. What's to stop them? Answer, nothing. Nothing. Why not? Yeah, there'd be an outcry, Neil, every freaking Saturday in central London, there's a hate march. You can call it what you like. I know what I call it. Call it a hate march. Okay. What do the police do? So the notion it can't happen, if you're calling for intifada, if you're calling for people's heads to be chopped off because you don't like them, and there's no reaction to that, no consequence, anything can happen. Anything can happen. It would happen. It's so easy. I'm sure in 1936, people were sitting in elegant, beautiful coffee houses and cafes, having beautiful cakes and coffee and elegant food, thinking, this Hitler fella, it'll be all right. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's just a little bloke with a funny moustache. It'll be okay.
But have we learned nothing from history?
No, we've learned absolutely nothing. It's come round again. That's my point.
But all the problems, ever since I've been alive in this world, it's the same shit that's come down generation after generation after generation. Hatred, violence, abuse, you name it. Racism, knife crime, drugs, you name it. It's come down generation after generation after generation after generation. What's it going to take to break it? What's it going to take? A
revolution. It'll take one thing. Now, you've known me many years. I'm the least violent person probably you know. But It'll take a revolution. It'll take a militia. That's what it's going to take. Graham Pack says this: I went to see Cable Street at the Southwark Playhouse on Saturday. It shows anti-Semitism, the rise of Mosley, immigrants taking over British jobs, and property evictions. History has come round right again. And Melanie Hutchins says this: it would happen. Look at the world now. It slowly happens. Graham Pack: there's still a nasty bunch of left-wingers in the local Labour constituency level. Yeah, just a bit. That's it. History.
Although, if we're talking about like what we're talking about earlier on the show, resisting anything to some degree can make it worse, including this. So,
it will be worse. It will be worse.
I don't know if you heard what I said. Resisting anything, anyone, even us, sitting here pushing against, saying that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, even though it might well be, it still doesn't make it any better. We have got the power of, this is all we've got the power of focus and attention to focus on what we do want, all right, and act and behave in the way we want to, if you know what I mean. And that's probably arguably more powerful than a million hate marches, and that's what everyone needs to do individually. But right now everyone's resisting everybody else.
I don't think
it
won't get any better. It really won't. And I've said this till I'm blue in the face. Nature abhors a vacuum. And if eventually the public see that the police and the government are simply not acting in the public's best interest of the majority, there'll be a pushback, and it won't be nice. Just like, I believe, when Trump wins the election in America.
When?
Which I think he will this year, the election year this year. Is it this year? When Trump wins, which is likely, I think all hell will break loose. I do. I think all hell will break loose. I mean, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's where the world is. It's a dangerous place. Which is what the clicky clacking you hear is the mini schnauzer coming in to make sure I'm still alive. And she can't. She's driving me. Bless her. She's going to be 15 soon, and I'm pretty sure she has canine dementia, which is really triggering me about my mum. Of course. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, you.
Is that a thing? I didn't know dogs could get dementia.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Come here, baby. Come on. There we go. Hang on. Here she is.
How's it's live radio, folks?
Here she is. Whoa! Oops.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Ebony decided to push everything.
You know that old thing they say, folks? Never work with children or animals.
With animals and dogs.
I rest my case.
Everybody's
Animals
a
or
critic.
dogs.
Everyone's a critic. Wow. My little dog.
It actually looked like you took a tumble there. That did look pretty funny.
Oh, no, I didn't fall at all. The machine.
It looked like you did. I was like, oh my God, are you okay?
No. I can't help it. I just love her too much. What can you do? I can't get angry. I can't get angry with her. I just love her so much. She's been so wonderful. If all help, yeah. You see, this is the thing, Melanie Hutchins. As I always say, when America sneezes, Britain catches a cold. And she says, if all hell breaks loose in the USA, we will follow. Of course we will. And I think Trump will win. Now, whether you like Trump or not, I'll keep my views to myself on that. Or you could have him, or you could have someone with worse dementia than my dog trying to lead the most powerful country in the world. Well, he's not running the country. We all know it's the Obama administration. This is Obama's third term. Effective. Ask any American. This is Obama's third term. They just push Joe Biden out.
Hang on, you've lost me there.
Why?
Lost me there. What do you mean?
Oh, I'll tell you what I mean. You're not going to tell me that Joe Biden's actually making any decisions. I mean, the guy can't string a sentence together. This is not a political thing. This is just looking at it from a mental health point of view. It's pitiful.
But does any president truly make decisions? I mean, there's obviously...
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. And they're at least they've got full mental capabilities. And I don't think he has. And I think it's very cruel. Whether you like Biden or you don't like Biden, the fact of the matter is, I think it's bloody cruel to keep, pushing this guy out. This is a guy who talks lovingly about the meeting he had with President Mitterrand of France. President Mitterrand of France died in 1996. It's a bit awkward. He's dead. How'd you have a meeting with him? Use the Ouija board or what? So I find it cruel. I find it very cruel that they do this to this. I'm never going to meet this man. He means nothing to me. I mean nothing to him. I think it's cruel to do that to somebody when they're not in their full mental capability. I think it's shocking. Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton. It's classic, isn't it? It's classic. the least affectionate dog on the planet. Every other dog is affectionate. Ebony Cook just doesn't care. Have you ever had dogs or cats?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah, got on well with most of them.
Yeah.
Apart from one that I couldn't stand.
Oh, why?
It was next door's cat, and it just came in.
Oh, it's not your cat then. Who cares?
Sort of
it's not your cat.
It wouldn't go home. And it's a long story. It doesn't need going over. It's not interesting.
Kind of does. That's it. Right. By the way, if you haven't had enough of me today, which clearly even my dog has, I will be on Talk TV tonight. I think from 11 p.m. Madness.
Oh, who are you on with?
I'm on with Petri. They've decided.
Super.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled. It's been ages, but they've changed the schedule, and I got a lovely call saying, "Would you come back?" Oh my God, Julie Voice. You know, Kamala Harris. I thought she was going to be great. She's a professional idiot. I've never heard anybody talk such nonsense. I mean, she's vice president. She talks like she's talking to a kindergarten. At the laughing hyena. I mean, it's just. Well, you know what they'll do? They'll wheel out Michelle Obama and they'll run her. That's what they'll do. Yeah, I do. I reckon. They can't run him. They can't. They just can't. They'll wheel out Michelle Obama. I don't know. Why not? I think we should wheel out, Rusty Lee. Because at least she's got a great laugh. Love Rusty. She doesn't do anything except laugh. I think it's fantastic.
No, I remember Rusty Lee. She was really cool.
Rusty Lee. They did. Michael McIntyre did with my show, and Michael McIntyre put Rusty Lee together with Alison Hammond, and I was cracked up because they couldn't talk, and all they do. I mean, there was nothing that was funny, but they were just laughing like drains, the pair of them, and I thought it was adorable. It was absolutely adorable. These two people in bed laughing, and laughter. It's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing. You know, it's the most important thing. So if we don't always talk about mental health and well-being, and sometimes we just go off track, me and Neil, and me and Phil, and Chantal, and we just talk about stuff that makes us laugh. That's okay. That's okay. You know, not every day is a school day. Some days you just want to chill. And have a nice time and everything like that. How do you feel, Neil? I'm talking about Alison Hammond, who I know very little about, to be honest with you. I find her perfectly nice. How do you feel when somebody's overexposed? Do you think, oh my God, not them again? Or do you think, well, good luck to them, why not? How do you feel?
Well, everyone has their day, don't they? You know, I'm not particularly jealous.
Well, no, because... No, jealousy is the most awful trait. It's a horrible trait.
It is. It has many faces.
It's pointless.
One is beautiful.
It's Do you know, if you just wish people well and they wish you well, the world's a much nicer place. Being jealous of people, what an absolute waste of energy.
Yeah, I've dealt with people that are jealous before.
Jealousy is vile. Jealousy is vile. It's just like, what does it say about you? You're horrible. That's what it says. You're a shitty person. You're a shitty human being because you're just jealous. Jealous is nasty. It achieves absolutely nothing. And rather than be jealous, get off your ass and do the work yourself.
Exactly.
That's it. You know, if you're jealous of a writer, go and write a bloody book. If you're jealous of a TV program, I could do better than that. Go ahead, go and do it. See how it works out. It may work out. You'll find out how difficult it is. You know, things aren't easy. You want something, you got to work for it. You got to train for it. Yeah. DJ, what are we? DJ Tech, Mixology and Gadgets. I have no idea what that is. It sounds great. I agree with you, Russ. You look at London and a few people within the TFL dictate their worldview, of the world, ignoring pub. Oh my God, Jesus. Right. On Friday, Mayor Khan, don't even get me started, announces they're renaming the overland lines. Overground, the overground tube bits.
Oh, I've heard about this.
They're renaming it. And I look at it, I thought, I have no idea what is this? And it cost, this renaming exercise, I think cost 3.5 million, or was it 6 million? Millions. I mean, all you need to know is it costs millions and millions of pounds. Here's a plan. Make the trains run a bit better. Make the trains a little less like cattle cars and more fit for human consumption. Don't dick around with changing names. This is just ego. This is ego and vanity. Why are you doing it? That's your legacy. You've changed the names of the overground. Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. How about looking at knife crime? Which is, the figures are shocking. But you won't solve it. No, we'll change the name. That's my big legacy. Man. Well, yeah, people wrote to Mike Batt about this, Graham. They should have named the new lines after the Wop. Mike Batt.
My comedy partner has written a very funny song. I'll tell you off air. I can't say it on air. It's a bit
rude.
Underground, overground. What does it mean? The name of the tube has changed for diversity. Spending 6 million on new station signs, taking the piss with the cash raised from fines, and it goes on.
It's absolutely that's genius.
And it goes on. Do you want a bit more?
No, go on. This is like, I love
Signs
it.
are confusing and don't work for me. Thought it's a wind-up, but no, it's Sadiq. Another inexpensive, insensitive stunt. Thanks to Mr. Khan, that's gone a bit too far this time. And
See, there's a guy who never answers a question. Deflects absolutely everything. If you watch those things from the London Assembly, gee willikins. That's very funny, Neil. That is really very clever. Did you write that?
No.
Did you write it?
No.
It's excellent. Absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was sitting yesterday and one of my best friends, a guy called Colin Vaines, and it suddenly, I just had to write a song and send it to him based on You're So Vain, called obviously You're So Vains. And it was just, yeah, well, here we go. Grand Pack. County lines, terrifying. Zombie knife lines, terrifying. Gangs, terrifying. Don't deal with it. Don't deal with it. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. I'm leaving you with this thought. Guy comes in, turned down twice as an illegal immigrant, somehow converts to Christianity. And on the third time he's let in. Travels down from the north of England, throws an acid-like substance into damage and injures 6 people plus 12 people, horribly injured.
I don't remember that being in the teachings of Jesus, but there you go.
Well, there you go. It must be the thing that Welby forgot to read. And he's got half his face hanging off. We've got more CCTV cameras in London than any other city in the world. Any other city in the world. Half his face is hanging off. He's wandering around Tesco's, and then he disappears. He's gone. It's a miracle. Stray into a bus lane for 10 feet, Park on a single yellow line for 4 minutes. They'll grab you. They'll find you. Walk around central London with half your face hanging off. No one can find him. And then guess what? Miraculously throws himself into the Thames. Of course he did. Anyway, that's it. The Midday Show. Neil will be back with much more sensible stuff on Wednesday at 12, and then the whole gang will be back here as ever on Friday. Hope you enjoy it. Bless you for your company. Dedicate this to Steve Wright, one of the great broadcasters of all time, and a charming, unassuming man. Until we meet again, try and stay out of trouble. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, Neil.
Bye-bye.
Bye.